name is Chigozirim, and I'll be talking about food run. I'm sure we're very familiar with that audio that just played now. It says, any money what I get now, now enjoyment. No need to worry about my future. As funny as that sounds, that is our reality as Nigerians. Next slide, please. Next slide. It sounds humorous, but it's our reality. Any money what I get, now enjoyment. With Nigerians spending 65 of their annual budget on food, it's like all of the money they have. As at 2020, the spend capacity was 58%. By 2021, it was 65%, and it is predicted to rise up to 70% by the end of this year. We can see a serious problem in the food value chain. So what this means is that the Nigerian is just left with about 35% for healthcare, education, investment, savings, and every other aspect of their life. Why they spend 65% on food? This is a serious problem in the food value chain. Next slide. There are several factors that contribute to this, but we are focusing on the information black holes and low visibility of the food supply chain. From the farmer down to the consumer, there are lots of processes, logistics, storaging, and every other core actor in the supply chain. But the kind of supply chain we have is one that is so opaque that every actor at every point in the supply chain does not know what is happening at every point in time. So that is why Food Run is building a system that you can trust. Due to this opaqueness, there are high cases of food fraud, and 35% of foods go to waste. Next slide, please. So Food Run, we believe that healthy and affordable food should not be a luxury, because right now it is 65% of your annual income going to feeding. That's made feeding a luxury. We believe that healthy and affordable food should not be a luxury. That is why we built a food information and e-commerce platform that you can trust. What are we offering? We're offering you food cheaper than your local market. We're offering supply chain visibility and transparency. We are improving the livelihood of farmers by giving them access to big data and predictive view of the supply chain. And we're also offering users great loyalty program. Imagine that you can buy affordable food and still get paid for it. With Food Run, while you shop on our platform, you earn loyalty points over time. These loyalty points can be used to buy food items on our platform. Next slide. This is a $1 trillion global market, and we're targeting 5% of the 45.7 billion Nigerian market. According to MIT researchers, users are willing to pay 2 to 10% more if they trust what they are buying. There is a reason why we go to ShopRite and we don't price, because we trust the system. But the current food supply chain is so opaque that you don't trust what is happening. So users are willing to pay 2 to 10% more if they trust the system. According to research, the e-commerce ecosystem was thrust 5 years into the future as a result of COVID-19. This gives us an advantage in the e-commerce space of the food value chain. Next slide. This is our platform. With big data and analysis, we are able to give farmers and core supply chain actors predictive insights into the food value chain so they can make quick, real-time decisions. Also, with our app, users can be able to trace and track what they put into their mouth. By simply scanning a barcode or inputting an SKU number, you can see how your food, the history of your food, with the farm where it was grown, whether it was organic or inorganic. You know what you are consuming. You know whether your food is authentic or whether it is manipulated. Also, with our platform, you can access variety of food items. Next slide. How are we doing this? We are leveraging traditional aggregation, where we aggregate food, and in the process, we aggregate data. Currently, we've collected over 5,000 data, which is stored on our cloud-based services, and we are aggregating every day. Also, we're introducing smart working food hubs. This makes food aggregation very easy. So as a small-scale farmer who grows vegetable, you can conveniently walk into any of Food Run's food hub and drop your food items. Somebody is there to evaluate these items, and as a small-scale farmer, you are credited instantly. Also, we are leveraging relationships and partners with cooperative societies and communities. Also, we are currently researching and developing a blockchain solution for this field. Next slide, please. This is how we're making money through commissions, sales revenue, delivery charges, and information and data sales. Next slide, please. This is our go-to-market strategy. We are leveraging relationships and network, our loyalty program. We have a free meal and budget planner. So as a consumer, you can easily go to our platform and budget your food for the month. Just log in, and every weekend there's a dispatch guy at your doorstep with your food items for the month. We're also leveraging digital and traditional campaigns and also referrals. Next slide. This is a very large competitive landscape. However, we are incorporating the B2B and the B2C model, unlike other businesses in this field who are either focused on B2B or B2C. We are leveraging B2B and B2C. Also, we are the first food tech platform offering low interest food credits of between 5 to 7%. So, as a constant user of our platform, at a point in time, you don't need to get stranded for food. You are eligible to apply for low interest food credits. Also, we have improved aggregation, total transparency. Next slide. This is our traction so far. Next slide. I come from a long chain of food entrepreneurs. I am an agricultural engineer, and I have over 8 years of experience in business and entrepreneurship. Next slide. This is our traction so far. In Q3 2020, we launched our beta, and we are currently developing our version 2, which is projected to be launched by Q2 this year. Also, we are projected to reach 1,600 users by Q4 this year, and also we are planning our expansion from Imo State to Abuja. At 1,600 users, we'll be able to earn $30,000 recurring revenue monthly, and we're currently developing and working on our blockchain solution. Next slide. This is what $10,000 will do for us. To give us 4 months runway, it will also facilitate the launch of our version 2, and it will strengthen marketing efforts and contribute towards blockchain research and development. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Now for the judges.
Should I? Okay.
Wonderful presentation so far.
Thank you, sir.
I have a few questions. Maybe we'll start with the problem statement. You mentioned 65%. We spent 65%.
Yes. According to report by Babangona's report of last year.
So I just want to understand why it's a problem.
It's a problem. The Americans currently, their spend capacity is about 8.5%. So they have other percentage to spend on medical care, education. But for us as an individual,
What is the problem that you are solving? Why is the problem that you are solving?
Because we believe that food should be affordable. Good and healthy food shouldn't be a luxury. 65% is a luxury. That's what people budget to buy a car. But when you are spending that on food, it becomes a luxury. We believe that healthy and affordable food shouldn't be a luxury. That's why we are solving this problem.
So the second question, at this stage, why do you need blockchain technology to solve your problem?
Okay, the supply chain process is very opaque. There is, as the merchant A does not know what is happening with merchant B. If there is a breakdown of a truck, they don't know what is happening. If there is tomato ready to be transported, the cold room guy does not know what is happening. There's a lot of opaqueness. The trader is in the market waiting. He does not know when tomatoes will arrive. So there's a lot of opaqueness. But with blockchain,
are you engaging blockchain right now? Is that what you want to do right now?
We are researching and we are developing on it at the moment. But currently we are using AI and big data to solve this issue. But blockchain will give us higher data integrity, unlike database and cloud-based storage.
So with the $10,000, will you
with $10,000, we will contribute towards research. With $10,000, the main thing to do is to launch our version 2, but it will contribute a bit towards our blockchain research. And with our current pace, we are expected to be done with our development by Q4 2023. Currently, we have a strong team of blockchain developers on our team, and we are currently researching into Hyperledger's fabric solution to solve this issue.
Okay. Hi.
Hi.
I'm going to give you some candid feedback about your presentation.
Right.
It was very rushed and it was very packed, and so it was very difficult to follow and very difficult to know what the core of what you do is. So just in future, you really need to distill your message, which started off being around trying to use data to, I would say, eliminate inefficiency in the value chain, to then offering food points, people paying more for food because they know where it comes from, and then doing delivery. This is a pitch for $10,000, and it's a lot of stuff to put in. And that actually raises more questions than clarification, right? So focusing would really be helpful for you. Now my question is, if you're using a website, 65% of people spending more on food, how does data correct the structural issues that cause that?
Sorry, come again.
Sorry, how does data, you're aggregating data as your key solution, but how does that solve the structural issues? Because this, I understand completely, there's opacity in price, etc., but there's also infrastructural reasons why. There's reasons why farmers cannot sell their food to the best buyer because, you know, they don't have the resources or transport or logistics. So is data alone the key reason that would bring down the cost of food? How do you really get that price down? Because I'm not convinced that it's just by giving farmers data. They don't have resources to even act on that data. And secondly, where would you say is the right place to focus? Because you seem to be doing end-to-end, you know, from an online store to working with farmers, cooperatives, even delivery. How do you pick where to actually build value?
Okay, so for the first question, data and supply chain transparency isn't the only problem with the food value chain. Currently, the serious problem that we have is insurgency, but we don't have control of that. So we are focusing on what we have control of, which is the supply chain, improving the supply chain efficiency. So I'll share a story. I went to a tomato reseller to get tomatoes some weeks back. So I went there, the woman said something. She said, Odika inga itilego. It is Igbo, and it means I think this item has added price. So she speculated. And if you go there the next day, you find out that the next person is selling at her price. So there's a lot of speculation with price. And because of the opaqueness of the supply chain, food fraudsters are leveraging on it to manipulate quality and manipulate price. So data and transparency in the supply chain will really improve and cut down on the cost of food, so that nobody will tell you, oh, the car inga go when it has not added in price. So that when somebody tells you, okay, this is 200 naira, it is really 200 naira and not out of speculation.
So who's that value for? So is it me, the customer, that is going? Because if the market women, who is getting the value from knowing the price?
Okay, so this information, we give this information through customer buying behaviors. We collect this data, which we aggregate into our platform. Farmers have access to this data. Also, improving the supply chain is for the customers, because we target customers and also target food businesses. So with reduced food costs, customers can access food on our platforms at very cheaper rates. Then also supply chain actors like distributors, logistics companies, storaging companies, they can have access to at every cycle of the supply chain. They know what is happening. So there is no opaqueness.
Okay, so I'm sorry, but I'm still trying to understand like where your focus is. Yeah.
Okay.
So I know I saw something about. Are you going to be handling logistics? Are you going to be handling logistics?
Okay, we operate mostly a white label logistics system. So this gives us room. We own just a few, but then we operate a white label logistics on demand service. So this takes off that burden from us. So we leverage logistics partners.
Right.
So this gives us room for expansion and helps us run lean with operational costs. So we are basically an information and e-commerce system. So while we aggregate food, we also aggregate data. We don't leave the data and just collect the food alone. We aggregate the data also. And while customers are buying, we're also aggregating data and sending feedback to the farmers. So it is not just e-commerce, we just collect food, we sell, and there is no transparency. So while we sell, we aggregate data. When we buy, we also aggregate data. Because it's an avenue to aggregate data, so you don't just leave the data out of it and just collect the food. So we leverage that, the food aggregation to mine our data.
So I think going forward, I think you should make it clearer.
Okay.
Yeah, so because e-commerce alone, to market an e-commerce startup, it's a lot of money, yeah? And also logistics is going to burn a startup. So
Okay.
it's going to be better for you if your next presentation or like your pitch deck, you make it clearer that
Okay.
this is what you are doing, this is your focus, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. A round of applause, please.
Thank you.
Please take a group picture with the judges.